So, Mark, thanks for taking the time to tell us about the way the CSO team operates here. Would you be able to give us a little bit of history as to how you came up with the idea of putting a formal process in place to book appointments for those desktop people?
Yeah, well, like most organisations back in 2000, 2001, we had a queue where people just picked jobs off the queue and went and served the customers. We've got a pretty mobile workforce with the academic staff who are not always in their office 9 to 5. We had a number of issues with that, with people picking off their favourites who they'd go and serve, picking off the easy jobs, avoiding the people that perhaps they didn't like so much, or the difficult jobs. And we got a lot of feedback of people who were not happy with the service, not getting served. We'd end up having to, go back to a queue and see someone be sitting there for 4 or 5 days because, for one of those reasons that I mentioned previously, it's either a hard job or they perhaps weren't seen as a nice customer, and everyone avoided. And then we'd have to pick somebody and say, you need to go out and get this job sorted out straight away. So for all those reasons, we knew we had to do something. And there's also the other things like, I suppose, not to disparage anybody, but work ethic. If there's no commitment, sometimes people can get a bit lazy. I used to use the analogy of someone who comes into work on a given morning, might have had a late night the night before. By the time they get in, check some emails, do a few things maybe in the office, and by the time they get to thinking about going and serving a customer, it's like, oh geez, I've got 15 minutes, maybe I'll just hang out for another 15 and I'll go to morning tea and then I'll worry about it after morning tea. So you can lose large chunks of time through non-productive work.
Absolutely. And so when you actually decided to set it up, how did you go about doing some sort of time estimate for a job? Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, look, there's no rocket science to it. We just went through service desk jobs and sort of made an average, and we come up with 45 minutes to start with. And we said, we're going to go with this, we'll monitor it and adjust as necessary. And we did have to make an adjustment. We had the Joondalup campus, which is quite a large campus, and staff were finding it difficult getting between buildings for certain jobs, particularly if they were at one end of the campus and had to go to the other end of campus. So we pushed those jobs out by 15 minutes, and so the Churchlands campus and Mount Lawley campus were 45 minutes. Churchlands doesn't exist anymore, but they were 45 minutes, and Joondalup had an hour for jobs. So basically we got stages. 1, we know that the customer's going to be there because the appointment's made with the service desk, and 2, we know we're going to get through so many jobs a day. So we've got that behind us, knowing what we can achieve in a day.
And how many jobs actually do you expect a CSO to actually do in a day?
Depending on the campus with the time frames, it's about 8 or 9 jobs a day.
Okay.
Minimum. There are some jobs like a re-image of a machine where we allocate 2 job slots because it obviously takes more than a single job slot, but we get to know those as over time, got to work those out, so we could allocate an extra slot to it. Or there's some jobs, where there has to be a follow-up, and we can organise that as well.
Okay, and so when you first introduced this, the staff, seeing as it is so long ago, probably don't work in those jobs now, but what sort of reaction did you get from the staff when you tried to introduce this?
Oh, look, there's always the, we don't know how long a job's going to be, it could be over the 45 minutes, all those sort of things came up, but we had to, we just said, well, let's move down this path, let's try it, let's monitor it and reassess if we need to, but we definitely need to do something. And look, from day one, I think it was a big hit with the customers. They loved knowing that at 9 o'clock, someone's going to be at my desk helping me sort my problem out.
And so in terms of building a culture of that you are going to turn up, that this can be a job that can be determined by a time and so on, it sounds like there's been a lot of value perceived by the client, not only just in terms of getting that job fixed. Has it actually in fact changed the way that the two groups react to each other? IT is often seen as that a bit of a black hole or a bit distant. How has it actually really affected the relationship?
I think it's been absolutely positive for the relationship between the customer and ITSC. They just love knowing someone's going to be there. We're very conscious and we push it through our staff that when we say 9 o'clock, it means 9 o'clock. It's not 5 past, 10 past, or quarter past. It gives us a great opportunity if someone's sick to actually reschedule jobs, ring the customer and say, John's away today, can we reschedule another day? Or we're going to actually bring someone else in to do the job today. So from that point of view, the customer's getting a service that they appreciate because they know what's happening, and even if they're bumped because someone is sick, I think they appreciate that as well.
Okay. And if you were talking to another IT group within a university that was looking to implement this, can you talk a little bit about the teething problems or anything that they should look out for to sort of ease that transition?
Yeah, look, I mean, the teething problems with us were they're very simple things. It was people turning up late to appointments from our, because they weren't used to working to a time clock in a sense and being there at 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock or whatever. It was those sort of things. And over time, some of the customers missed appointments initially as well. But over time, it just got to become so seamless that any problems that we hit up front just disappeared very, very quickly.
Mm. And in terms of the staff that you hire into that area now, has the criteria that you're looking for changed at all, given that you do have this set appointment? No,
the criteria of the sort of person we're looking for hasn't changed because this is a process issue. It's not about the skills and ability that the person has. This is about working to a process, and this is ECU's process and how we deal with our customers. And look, people coming in, I've not heard one person who's come in and said this is not a good way of working.
Yes.
They adopt the system very, very quickly and work within it.
That's it. Is there any time within the schedule of the CSO to be able to research things? Does it seem like that every minute for them is booked out, or is there some flexibility within that?
Oh, look, the reality is, and if someone wanted to get down to the microseconds, etc., is that they do have some free time because not every job is going to take them 45 minutes or an hour. So it gives them time to get back to the desk to often, update their jobs in the service desk system, do a bit of research, and we actually do use those sessions slots to actually, when we have particular projects and things, to say, here's a slot, we'll block this out for you to do this research or to do work on this project. So we can actually use them not just for the break fix and going to the customers, we can actually slot in other things in those time frames.
Okay. Look, that's great, Mark. So is there anything else that you sort of recommend or cover in terms of...
Sorry, that's me.
It's you. We'll edit that bit out.
Yeah.
Is there any other comment or anything else that I haven't covered that you think would be important if others were considering this and implementing this?
I don't see how we could work without using the system now. I think if I go back in history and test my memory, I think in student staff surveys we finished on the issues list above the cafeteria food, which is normally the highest ranking thing in the university. But over time, obviously, that's changed. And look, I can't. If we had to move back to a ticketing system and pull off the top of the list, I think our customers would revolt strongly.
That's great. Look, thank you very much for taking the time to talk to us.
No problem. Hope that was okay.